Welcome to the City of Klamath Falls Fraud Awareness Training. During this presentation, we will discuss the Fraud and Theft Policy, assignment of responsibility for reporting fraud and theft, guidelines for investigations of suspected fraud or theft, consequences, fraud awareness training requirements, and fraud, theft, and whistleblower hotline and website. The City of Klamath Falls adopted a fraud and theft policy to establish controls and aid in the prevention and detection of fraud and theft against the city. This policy applies to any actual or suspected fraud or theft involving an employee, city volunteer, elected official, consultant, vendor, contractor, outside agency, or person doing business with the city or any other relationship with the city. Occupational fraud is the use of one's occupation for personal enrichment through the deliberate misuse or application of the employing organization's resources or assets. Examples are forgery or alteration of a check, bank draft, or any other financial document, theft of a check or other diversion of a payment made to the city, improper or dishonest handling of funds, supplies, or other assets, improper handling or reporting of financial transactions, intentional misstatement or omission of material information in the financial statements with the intent to mislead, profiteering as a result of insider knowledge of city operations, selling or using confidential city information in the conduct of an outside business activity. Theft can be defined as the unlawful taking or removing of property with the intent to deprive the rightful owner of it. Examples are taking equipment or supplies belonging to the city and utilizing or keeping it for personal use, falsifying time records or expense reports, personal purchases on company credit cards. Corruption is defined as an employee's use of his or her influence in business transactions in a way that violates his or her duty to the employer for the purpose of obtaining personal benefit, such as conflicts of interest, illegal gratuities, and bribery. Employees or volunteers can report suspected fraud or theft by contacting their supervisor or the city attorney, who serves as the ethics officer. In the event that the ethics officer is unavailable, the support services director or human resources manager will fill that role. Supervisors should make reports to the ethics officer. The identity of the complainant will be protected to the full extent allowed by law. Any form of retaliation against the complainant will not be tolerated. The supervisor does not have the authority to determine the merits of a report of known or suspected fraud or theft. Only the ethics officer will make this determination. Elected officials can report suspected fraud or theft to the city manager or ethics officer. Do not contact the suspected individual in an effort to determine facts or demand restitution. Allow the ethics officer to conduct the investigation. Do not further investigate the allegations. Do not discuss the case, facts, suspicions, or allegations with anyone unless specifically asked to do so by the ethics officer. The ethics officer is responsible for the administration, interpretation, and application of this policy. They are to conduct the investigation, determine if the report is credible, and document the results. Make every effort to protect the identity of the person who, in good faith, reported the suspected fraud. An employee who has engaged in any form of fraud or theft, suspects or discovers fraudulent activity and fails to report his or her suspicions as required by this policy, or intentionally reports false or misleading information, is subject to disciplinary action up to and including termination. All employees are required to attend the fraud awareness training at least once every 3 years. Employees in financial or cash handling positions must have training on an annual basis. Once a year, all incidents, findings, and resulting actions are reported to the audit committee. This report contains the status of the reporting person, determination of merit, investigation, results, and disciplinary action. The whistleblower policy covers several other areas in addition to theft and fraud. Reports can be made by calling 866-607-0157 or online at whistleblowerhotline.alertline.com. or the link can be found on the City website at www.klamathfalls.city under the Human Resources page. Call or go online to report behaviors that violate the law and city values, such as harassment or discrimination, threats or violence, theft or fraud, accounting or financial irregularities, violations of laws or regulations, on-the-job drug or alcohol abuse. It's easy, confidential, and always available. Thank you for completing your fraud awareness training for the City of Klamath Falls.